This is Sandman1MT, and welcome to my channel. Today's discussion, we're going to be talking about Neuvillette and the upcoming banner with Zhongli that he's been running on, and my regrets of pulling him and my reasons for it. So before you get the pitchforks out and torches, hear me out. It's very simple. Just take a close look. Do you see it? It's right there. There. It's plainly written on his face. He's a guy. I usually play female characters, and I prefer because they're good to look at and they bring more enjoyment for me. I usually don't play male characters. However, I loved his storyline, and he's very stoic, makes commanding presence, and I thought, I liked his way he looked as well. He really fit in with the Fontaine world and with Farina and the whole entire Archon story quest that happened. And of course, you got the powerhouse that he is. So I'm not saying he's weak by any means, but I still regret him because, like others say, play what you like. And that goes to my next problem with him. I don't enjoy his play style. I find it boring like some others do. But it's further problematic is because I'm on a controller on a PS5. And I figure PvC would have the same issue. That whole spin to win, he spins so much slower than other characters go ahead and do on a PC or mobile, for instance. Like for Nahida. My friend and I both have the Nahida character. He can spin around 5, almost 6 times, and I only get 1 rotation around. Here's an example of that. Here he goes. That's how fast he can go ahead and rotate. So he still moves, but it's still a lot slower than it would be on a PC or mobile. So it actually takes away from some of his power and for times clearing in the abyss. And that's the other thing. I bought him because I got on the weapon banner when I was pulling for my hotel. I wanted a second Staff of Homa when I got her C1 because I was going to give it to Yao Yao and eventually maybe Raiden Shogun or Zhongli if I ever got those characters. However, I won Neuvillette's weapon and I skipped him, thinking I'll maybe use it on Klee later on and I can use it and not go to waste. However, when he came up in the second banner, I had a lot of wishes saved up, and I figured, well, he's a powerhouse, and everyone else says he's, really strong. Maybe I can get past his play style, especially if I get a C1, so I won't have that knockback, and I'll have more choices in my teams. And so I went ahead and rolled on him, and I won. And I got a C0 and a C1, won both 50-50s. But after I got him, I've never used him in Abyss, and I've never used them in most other things until the Imaginary Theater. So at least I got some use out of that, but that's kind of a very expensive loss for me. But just because I can use them in the Imaginary Theater, it does help out with some of the sting though. But Natlan came out, and that has helped take care of some of the issues of having not enough characters to run the second team in Abyss. We're taking my favorite ones with Xianyun that came out. It was a real help. You can even use Kachina, to lead the load. And now we got Ororon, which is a very good character to get the shred and everything for him. So now I can actually run him in 2 different teams. So he's a little more useful. However, I still just don't really particularly care for his playstyle, and that's just not going to go ahead and change for me. So don't always just pull because it's the most powerful thing on there. Just make sure that you're actually spending your premium gems really where they're needed and where you're going to actually end up using it the most. You can see I got his weapon, his artifact sets. There's nothing wrong with it. None of them are broken, but they're all pretty decent. Gives him everything that he needs. So it's not like I didn't invest in him. I built him up completely to go ahead and utilize his power as best I could. There's his Constellation 1. Read up there and you see what it does. And then his talents, 9, 8, 8. So I level up all my characters to make sure they're actually utilized and can go ahead and be used in the game. But that's just my take on him. But Venti, he's another story. He is my largest regret. And now, once again, before you get your pitchforks and your torches out, just hear me out on this. I got Venti when I first started playing the game. and I was trying to get Zhongli. But there's only a week left of the banner, and being a new player, there is no way I was going to go ahead and get enough wishes and stuff for that. However, on Venti's banner, I barely managed to go and get him, and I was pretty excited until I got him to AR-40. And then I just really never ended up using him. Because at that time, Sumer's coming out, Nahita's coming out in another 2 months, and his usefulness is already diminishing then. And I just used him to open up areas, teleportation points out on the map, you know. But once you get all those, his usefulness really, really went down. And plus other characters came out that can go ahead and do kind of the same thing he does. You know, like Kazuha, who does better grouping, picks up Klee's bombs, and it also picks up Kiara's bombs as well. He doesn't. He only picks up the smaller enemies. And that is not very useful in today's game at all. And you got other characters that actually do much better in travel, especially with Natlan. But even before Natlan, you had the Cloud Retainer, Xianyun. Look at her. She can get right up there. Skyward! And she can increase flight speed. And she can continue climbing up really, really fast. Skyward! Venti, on the other hand, you go ahead and you switch over to him. And what's he go ahead and do? He blasts you up. He gets you up on the hill. And then jump over. That's it. Can't go ahead and do anything yet because this timer hasn't cooled down yet. And we can't go ahead and move on. And now with Natlan, you even have Ororon. He can come up, he floats up just as high. And then he can jump back down and immediately jump back up again. He doesn't have a cooldown except for running out of stamina when he's outside Natlan, but still he's useful. And you can still jump up and even aim and hold him up. You get hang time. So all the advantages that Venti has are pretty much gone in today's game of Genshin. I just wanted to point that out, figuring that if he comes out in the next banner, he's one of my biggest regrets. I wish I never pulled on him. And on top of that, and looking at the character, I built him well. I've downgraded him a bit because I shared some of his better artifacts from other people, but he's still built decently and got good weapons, but he just can't really be used in much. And none of his talents or constellations and make really great improvements. There are so many better characters in him. And on top of it, when I first started playing, I, like probably many other people, as I tell my friends, like, hey, I'm pulling on this Venti character. I hope she's good, you know. And he says, it's a he. I'm like, what? No, you're kidding. It's a guy. It's like Twinkle Toes? He seems a little light in the shoes a little bit. And he says, no. He says, no, that's a guy. And then come down over here in the profile, says, but it's voiced by a girl. Her name's Erica. And it's like, nope, still a guy. And people say, oh, how dare you make fun of Venti? He's my favorite character. Well, I'm allowed to have my opinion. I mean, if you like him, go ahead, pull for him. But there's so many better characters that can do what he does, and so much better. And a lot of them are even 4 stars, like Sucrose, that you won't have to invest a whole lot into, and will outperform him. So, but you can make him good. So if you like him, go ahead and like everyone says, pull for who you want. But this is my biggest regret. That's why I actually put out one of the videos. I covered Venti, and dude looks like a lady from Aerosmith. Because, like I said, I thought it was a girl when I first saw the character. But, you know, they also make fun of Venti himself. I agree with Zhongli. He's a drunkard. He's a useless. Paimon calls him tone-deaf bard. So he's like never there, you know, for his people. He's just kind of out and being drunk. So, and he gave up his gnosis even. Didn't even fight for it. Hell, Narcon got screwed over. You know, she killed Signora. But this guy, nope. So for me, he's been a regret. But hey, if you like him, go ahead and pull for him if he comes out a little later on. But I think there's much better characters like Cloud Retainer. You can get Sucrose, you know, heck, even Ororon. There's so many other alternatives that you can
Someone told you the Masters of the Night Wind is a tribe of weirdos?
That's just my 2 cents.
Who else?
If you made it this far in the video, if you can hit that like and subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. It does help out. Now moving on to Mavuika, our new Fire Pyro Archon that's coming out in Natlan in the beginning of January. I've already been pre-farming for her, and I've already built an artifact set for her that's pretty decent, but I still need to replace the attack circlet. And this is what her stats are currently setting at. She only has 21 elementary mastery, which is lower than I'd like to have, but her crit rate is 45%, her crit damage is 130. And with her weapon that she'll go ahead and eventually get, it will only give her 11% crit rate. So that will go ahead and bring up her total to a total around 56 crit rate. Plus the 40% you'll get from the Seeding Codex, it'll put her at 96% to 130 crit damage, which is a little lopsided. However, Mavuika's on the Fire Archon ascends on crit damage. So if you level her up fully, she'll get an additional 38.4, we'll just call it 40% crit damage. So that would go ahead and bring you up to 170. Plus her weapon gives her an additional 20. So that gives her 190% crit damage, which is really good. That's just as good as my Hutao. She's at 74 crit rate and 198% crit damage. And that's a pretty good setup. And she's going to have 96 at almost 200% crit damage. That's a pretty decent amount of damage that she's going to go ahead and do on that. But that's because kind of how my artifact pieces ran. I kept on getting crit damage and no crit rate on them. So I put a crit circle on instead to make up for that. So I got 25% on her flower. I got an additional 27 on her attack. Her sands is absolute trash and needs to be replaced, which I will do with my custom set, and hopefully it rolls well for me. She's got a pyro damage with some crit damage and crit rate on as well. And there's my crit rate piece that some people scream at. That's horrible! But hear me out, I'd rather crit almost 100% of the time when she hits her 8 hits, hit 7 out of 8 out of times, versus having 65% crit rate and only hitting 6 out of the 8 or 5 out of the 8 even. I figure that's going to be more of a damage loss. Well, that's my opinion anyways. But we'll see how it plays out when they do finally drop the new Archon. Moving on to the Lantern Rite, we have Yan Lan that comes out, hopefully at the same time on the banner, and we all get a free copy, and I'd like to get some multiple of her. Now, on her build, I'm going to have Hazo setting in here for her. And I know he's coming up on Neuvillette's banner, so this is a little sneak peek for him as well, I guess. Now, I have been putting my artifacts and pieces on him to represent Yan Lan. And this setup, I will have 482 elementary mastery. If you look at that, it'll give you a 310% overload, swirl, super conduct kind of damage out, that kind of boost. Because this character scales on attack, but she likes EM that she'll swirl, and when it interacts with other elements from your other party members, it can imbue itself with that and also shields against those damage as well. And causing her burst will also deliver out damage as well. That's based on her elementary mastery from some of the leaks that I've seen. So she wants attack and EM big time. I'm not too sure what her burst is going to cost. It could be very high. I'm figuring 80, just worst case scenario, so I was building for that. And I was going to put her in a Viridescent set that, you know, gives a normal shred that you always want from all the Nemo characters that we have out there. And, you know, elementary mastery, got good roll on that one. Got a little energy charge and attack, which she'll do her well. Energy recharge piece with a good amount of attack percentage on it. And on the goblet, you do not want to put any elements on it, since when she swirls and she imbues it with other elements, she has the same kind of issues Shaska does. So you should put either elementary mastery or attack on this one, at least from the leaks I've been seeing. And I finished off to go and round her out with an attack piece. You could do EM for more damage, or myself, I decided to go and split it and give her attack to go ahead and scale it up to give her more damage resistance for her shield. Now, to wrap up this video, I got a special treat for those who hung out to the end. I'm going to showcase my best Neuvillette team that has Farina, Xianyun, Kuki, and Neuvillette himself on there to show his damage potential for those who are interested in pulling for them. I am also going to show one of my side favorites. I love Klee, and I'm going to show you a special variant of my Plunge Klee team with Farina, Cloud Retainer, Xianyun, and Klee herself, of course. And to finish it up, since the banner right after our Fire Archon is supposed to go ahead and be Clorinde, and she is very underrated. She can actually compare to my C4 Neuvillette, some of the bosses she fights, even though she's C0 with this team. And that was when I had a C3 Cheveruse. Now she's C6. This team is incredibly strong, and I'll do a quick demo and showcase at the end of this video as well. So, if you like what you've seen or this has been helpful to you, please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you soon. Before we head off to do the battle showcase, I want to go ahead and mention that my UID is in the bottom right hand corner, and you're all free to welcome to friend me and borrow some of the characters that I have running Imaginary Theater, like Neuvillette, Clorinde, Xianyun, which is Cloud Retainer, as well as Ororon. So you can go and trial case my characters on your account and see if you like them or not before you pull for them. As well, you can DM me on my Discord to get more of a faster response, and I can add some characters that I might not have listed. I hope you enjoy the upcoming fights. I've set them to some Natlan music, and I hope to see you soon.
Orders given. Orders received.